Okay.
Are you stairs okay? I'll lift
Yeah,
it.
yeah, sure, fine.
Stairs. Just the rooms of it, maybe it's not as warm as well.
It's okay.
I think we just down here, is it? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Salam, doctor. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Can you just introduce?
I'll introduce. I'm Dr. Farid.
Yeah, we met before, yes.
I'm Michelle. We've met before.
Yes.
I'm Chelsea.
Have we met before?
Yes.
I think we were in this room as well, weren't we?
We were just thinking how long ago was it? I'm sorry to hear about your mother and your passed away.
Well, yeah, no, I understand. It's
Yeah.
the drama still continues, yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that was in 20. If memory serves me correct, I think we came here in 2019.
It was definitely pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But Dr. Hussain is here. He's a new partner. He's
So that's
trying
the
to
reason I'm
surgery.
sitting in.
Oh, that's good. Okay, all right.
Observe and
He's
try and learn a little bit as well.
Okay. Have you been in the profession long?
So I qualified as a GP about nearly 2 years now.
Oh, okay, all right.
New to the senior role, so I'm trying
Okay, all right, okay. Is this your first practice that you're working in, or have you worked
to.
before?
Well, I've worked around.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Training nurse,
It's challenging, isn't it, being a GP? They put a lot of burden upon yourselves, and you have a lot of
Well,
responsibility.
it pays our mortgage. That's
Wow.
what I say at the end.
I still enjoy it, so
Yeah.
challenges I agree.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it the most.
How are you guys doing after the COVID? Is it better now, or?
No, it's a lot different to pre-COVID, isn't
Different,
it?
but it's still the work is staying.
Still catching up as well.
But it's a different working style now because
Okay.
we are kind of before that it was all face to face. Now it's
Much more and more.
telephone, face to face, video,
Yeah.
paperwork. So it's kind of become more intense work now.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. Well, thank you for agreeing to see me. Obviously, we've been having a lot of issues. As you can appreciate, it's the same issues effectively. In my mother's case, and there seems to be like a correlation of what's been happening, which is obviously alarming. And it's not it's not good for the people that I'm caring for. I was just downstairs reading your notices for carers and stuff, and obviously we have a very unique set of circumstances. I've got two vulnerable people that are continuing to be in my care, much to the exasperation of the local authority. And as you're fully aware, when we had this meeting last time, there was another meeting following that, and it was all to do with court proceedings, and the council came here to book a room, and if you remember. Yeah, well, basically, after our meeting, there was another meeting at this very office, and it was basically all just the council people, and it was a court of protection matter. Unfortunately, those things are still continuing and stuff. But I think in the interim, it's important that, I feel what's the word? I feel at loggerheads with the situation, and it's not good for my siblings that continue to be in my care. As you can appreciate. They've been registered here for some time now, and I'm really don't know how to proceed forward. And I think yourselves are having the same situation.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because at the end of the day, we and you both want the best for your
Yes.
siblings, and we are kind of more concerned that they have not been seen
Yes.
that as practice. We haven't actually never seen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ever seen them, and they're registered, and we do like whenever the new patients
Yep.
book, and we do have asked them to come in for a new patient check.
Yes.
So it's just from our side, we just want what's best for your siblings,
Yes.
and that's what we have been always trying to
Yes.
do.
Well, with all due respect, that when you say we want the best, usually there's that key word, best interest. And that is a word that obviously I find very disingenuous, and no disrespect to yourselves or anybody else. I'm sure you're trying to do a good job, but when people are acting in the best interest, clearly there are guidance on how people should act in the best interest, and that starts with respecting the patient as an autonomous, sovereign individual to make their own choices and decisions rather than being railroaded, and rather than saying that, well, in your best interest, we want you to do this. And I think there's that disparity there, where no doubt. It's good intentions, and I'm not criticizing yourselves, but it's what they say is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that's
What we have been trying to do is just to get your brother and sister for a health check, so that, because I think there is suspicion with one of them that your brother might be diabetic, or one of the blood results was high in the previous surgery. So we just want them to come in once, see the healthcare assistant, get the blood test done, get the weights done, and we haven't got any problems with the language now as well, because there are 4 GPs here who can speak in Urdu and Punjabi both, so we will be able to communicate with your siblings, both your brother. One is your brother-in-law, or
One is my brother-in-law, one is my
so
sister. Yeah.
brother-in-law and sister. So we
Not
will-
brother-in-law, brother.
Okay, so your brother and your sister-in-law. Okay, so yeah, so we will be able to communicate with them, and it will be a good opportunity for them as well to see someone, so that if they have or you have got any concerns about their health, because we are just concerned about their health. We are not concerned by whatever is happening outside with all these council workers and whatnot. So we are just concerned, and that's what we offer to all our new patients. I'm sure if you go on our website, there will be something, or if you go on the things, there will be something that we always offer new patient health check to anyone who gets registered with us. And your brother and your sister-in-law I'm not saying that they're getting old, but they are getting in that age where they will start having some health complications. So that's why we have been trying to get them in. We haven't got any other interest of why we are getting them in.
Well, thank you for that, Doctor. But once again, I believe that you're being slightly disingenuous here. And the reason that you're being disingenuous is that the problem has never been that, or we can't come in because, well, what is the problem? There's a language problem, or is there anything else? Why we've not come in? What is the problem that we've not come in?
That's why the meeting is.
Yes.
That's why.
What is the problem?
Yes. That's what I was trying to, and
Yes.
that's why we agreed for the meeting.
Yes.
So just so that what's the problem? Why?
Yeah. What is
how can we
Yes.
help you to bring them
Yes.
to the surgery?
So you know, on the, like when I said you're disingenuous, and this is why I'm saying that, obviously, as you can appreciate, that I represent my brother and sisters. The decisions that the decisions that are being made regarding the health and welfare is regarding probably myself. They trust me implicitly because obviously I'm the brother, right? And as you can appreciate, especially from like an Asian culture, you can understand and more appreciate there's certain reservations dealing with like professionals or doctors and stuff. And I've always encouraged my family members that, look, this is in your best interest. But there's an element of culture, but that's not the problem here. The problem once again remains is that in order for you to do your job, in order for you to say, like, you know, this is my best interest, we have to trust you. And if that relation is, and as you can appreciate in a doctor-patient relationship, it's all about trust, isn't it? Effectively, you're asking me to put some chemicals in my mouth, all right, and ingest them, and I do not know what the consequences are of that. I'm simply trusting you as my doctor, and I understand that and that's sure with every doctor, is that they're acting in my best interest. Why would they try to do these things? So you do accept there's an element of trust there, yes?
Yeah.
And that has to be paramount. That has to be, in order for you to provide your services. It's not the case that we're here, we're being paid to do a job, it's our best interest. Ultimately, in order for you to do your job, is to build the trust with the patient. If the patient doesn't trust you, they're not going to engage with you.
That's why we are asking them to come and see
Yes.
us. So we can't build a trust if they don't come
Okay.
and see us.
Okay, and this is
So
one.
that's
So this is,
the purpose
yes,
of
I understand, but
meeting.
the bottom line is, this is why I'm saying you're disingenuous, because you're not looking at a particular circumstance. So first of all, you're not looking at what the problem is. So what is the problem? Why is these patients not come inside? That's the first aspect, and I'm explaining to you that there's an issue of trust, and you're countering with saying, well, we want to build trust with them. Well, they don't want to build trust with you because they know the fact that they are both my brother and sister suffer from schizophrenia. They do not speak the language, but it's not just a language barrier. It's an issue of the fact that they know that they're vulnerable and they are easily exploitable, especially with like fast-talking people, professional people that have a good mastery of the language. Look like I do. You can see how.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's why we offered you to come with
Yes.
them, so they trust you.
Yes, that's right.
So
Yes.
they can come with you.
Yes.
So, and then we can explain to them in their language, so that nobody is kind of talking which they can't understand or what you can't understand. So we can explain to you and then build the trust with the patients. And then if we can't see them, if we can't meet them, we're never going to be able to build any trust.
No, that's not the case though, because
so
obviously.
How do you suggest we build a trust with them then?
Well, first of all, you need to respect their rights to refuse.
No, we are respecting their right to refuse.
Yes.
It's not that, but if they are refusing because they don't have trust in us, then
That's not the
it
reason,
just
though.
breaks the relationship.
No, that's not the
So
reason, though.
why are they not?
They trust because they go on what I say. So they will. So they trust me completely,
Yeah.
and I have put me in this position to advocate on their behalf. And the problem.
So
sorry,
that's
go on.
why we are trying to convince you
Yes.
that you should have trust in us, and you should have trust
Okay.
in your siblings,
Okay.
and bring
Yes.
to us. We are not going to do any harm to them.
Well,
By taking any blood test,
Yeah.
especially if they suffer from schizophrenia, especially if they've got one test that shows that one of them could be diabetic. So it's better if they are diabetic that we know. Fair enough. If they want treatment or they don't want treatment, that's up to them. But at least they can have regular checks. They can have regular checks of their blood pressure. They can have regular checks of their eye test. So they can be in a system where they're having regular checks. So that's what we are trying. So we are trying to build trust with you, so that
but you're
by
not
the
though.
way we can build a
But you're not though. There's a disparity between what you're saying,
Yeah.
which all sounds very nice, and all
But-
sounds.
but-
But what you're doing, there's a
So
distinction between.
what do you want me to do to build trust with you?
Well, okay, that's fair enough. That's a good question. See, that's an appropriate
Yeah.
question. Like, what has the first question is that why is the trust broken down? What has happened? That's
Well, we have never met your brother-in-law, and when we met with your in your mother's case, I'm sure that everything was sorted. I mean, unfortunately, your mother passed away, but we did ended up with a good relationship there.
Did we?
I'm sure your mom was. There wasn't any issues with the surgery as such.
Was it not the case the fact that you had an issue with me and you had wrote out to my mother stating that this relationship cannot continue because of the conduct and behaviour of your son, namely myself? So you had written a letter out to my mother.
Yes.
I then obviously had a long discussion with you, and you, through your integrity, said that actually that's not the case. All right, that obviously we've not had an issue with you. All right, so there was, if you recall, you had written out because what.
I don't recall.
Well, I'll just remind you.
Yeah.
What had happened is that you no longer felt that you could provide a service to my mother, and effectively.
Well, that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, if we can't see your brother and your sister-in-law, if we can't.
Not my
if we can't
sister-in-law, my brother and
oh,
sister,
sorry,
yeah.
Your brother and your siblings.
Yes.
If we can't meet them, if we can't do anything with them, if we can't build a trust with you. So
I'm here today to.
So that's why we are trying to. Well, that's the meeting.
Yes,
this
yes,
reason that we
yes.
are trying to build the
Yes,
trust. So
okay.
how are we going to build this trust?
Well, first of all, Doctor, one of the ways is that obviously give me the. I'm trying to be respectful to you,
Yeah.
and equally I would ask you to be respectful to us. So when I'm trying to explain the situation, and I was trying to highlight that, obviously reminding you of what's happened in the past. All right, because only I can go on my own personal experiences. My mother was registered. There were some problems, if you recall, and I'll refresh your memory because I appreciate you got thousands of other people. My mother had come to live with my sister here in Oldham, Zaida, and one of the initial problems I had was that, and the problems that your practice had was getting the medical records across from Bradford, and if you. The situation was that my mum was here for a substantial amount of time, over 6 months, and the records were not being transferred over. All right, and eventually it resulted in that I became very distressed at the way I was being treated by your reception staff in a disdainful manner, basically, being effectively triggered and antagonized. And I understand the situation. Like, for example, if you're trying to antagonize me, I'm a very cool, calm, collected person, and I have a good, as you can see, I have a good mastering of the English language. I don't need to resort to anything like this. But your staff members were treating me quite poorly then, if you remember. And it was then that you after our discussions, you said, well, what we're going to do now, we're going to introduce a policy where all our calls are recorded, and it was actually as a result of my interactions with yourself that you started a policy of recording calls. Also, one of the problems I had then was that my mother was requiring incontinent pads, and there was because we had moved over, there was a great deal of difficulty dealing with incontinence pads, and I remember this quite clearly because I had to do a lot of running around, and you were dealing with us.
I was, like you said, that
yes,
we
and and from I believe there's a commissioning group or the people that deal with it. They acknowledge that this was a failure, a wider failure, and there were failures everywhere. And eventually we got that sorted. And obviously I was trying to approach yourselves to trying to deal with the situation. However, there were numerous instances where this effectively this GP practice was being utilized for the benefit of the local authority. And what I mean by that is that you were coming saying that we went over and we will have concerns that she's not taking. Basically, those concerns that you were having were, I believe, artificially created, and then those concerns were actually turning up in the court proceedings that were ongoing in relation to my mother. And then obviously I rang back and I said, well, wait on a minute, I cancelled these meetings, I gave you this information. And then you said, yes, we once again acknowledge our mistakes, and that yes, we shouldn't have been escalated the matter. So
well, I think let's move on from whatever happened with your mom, because unfortunately she passed away, and the meeting is more about your brother.
Well, yes.
So let's come back to the building the trust now.
Well. If you with respect,
I can understand
with respect, doctor, with
respect to you as well, we are limited for time as well.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
So,
okay.
And I can understand what happened with your mom and whatever.
Well,
but that's.
Well,
I'm
sorry, I don't think so. I don't think that is the case. And with respect, I mean, if you would allow me to articulate what I'm trying to say, is that this is simply a continuation of what's happened there. Under those circumstances, we could no longer engage with yourself. Okay. And then what actually happened was that after you had written the letter and stating the fact that, obviously you no longer felt that it was appropriate because of myself being abusive and stuff, that you had written that letter and effectively deregistered her to a point where we could not go any further, and you had subsequently, with courtesy on the telephone call, accepted that was not correct. What you had written was a disparity. So the reason I mentioned that is because once again the circumstances of my brother's coming here, so this is just prior to yourself, because next time I said I'm going to avoid this practice, because obviously I had bad experiences. So I was not intending to register, come to be registered here. My brother and sister were not. If it was my choice, I would not get them registered here, simply because of the strained relationships we've had in the past. Now, what happened is that, putting my mum to one side, there was a same situation and the same scenario that's happened now with my brother, and this was in February 2021, where we have ended up in Oldham from Bradford, and this time I chose to avoid your practice, and my sister was already registered with Sun Valley across the way, and so we registered there. And obviously it is, as you can see from both my brothers and sisters' records, in order for me to do my job effectively, which is not codified, all right, but in order for me to represent my family members and make decisions on their behalf, I have to be informed. And in order for me to achieve that, one of the first things I do, and as you can see from both the records, is always I make a subject access request for that information, because obviously I ultimately, even though legally speaking, or like in a wider governmental context, you have responsibility for your patients, the reality is that I'm the family member. They trust me implicitly. I need this information. Obviously my brother does not read English, now my sister does not read English. So what happened is that we registered with the practice over the way, Sun Valley, and things were going well, and one of the first things I said was I want my brother's records, and they had facilitated that request. Unfortunately, what's the problem here is not the fact of your intentions and what had happened previously in my mum's case. What has happened in the Sun Valley across the way is that subsequently there has been external interferences between the doctor and patient. Now, as you can appreciate, the doctor and the patient, that's a close relationship of trust. Under these unique circumstances, I'm representing the patient, so there's still that closed relationship. However, there's been interferences from a third party. Previously, I believe, here in my mum's case, but then subsequently at Sun Valley. And once again, the people at Sun Valley, obviously started to antagonize me or try to coerce me into acting and behaving in a way that would have been, they recognized, inappropriate. But ultimately, what had happened was that I had made a subject access request for my brother's medical records. They had complied at first, and then subsequently I had made a further subject access request because some of the information was missing. And then all of a sudden, they started to take a different approach with me and a different tone with me, and obviously I understood what had happened, but obviously they were not communicating that with me. When I say third party, I'm talking about social workers from Bradford engaging with them and effectively saying, sabotaging the relationship between myself and the practice, because it's in my best interest to get the help and support for my siblings. So there's a third party, namely the local authority, social workers had contacted Sun Valley across the way and started to sabotage that relationship at a point which was very, very critical, because we were examining whether my brother had diabetes. All right, so this was, obviously in 2021, and subsequently the relationship became very, very strained. And the doctors there, and it's always the case, the doctors, much like yourself, and I've had this conversation with many other doctors, all the same conversation effectively, that you are trying to do your best. However, you have been manipulated or coerced into not acting in your fiduciary duty of care, but being effectively sabotaged. And so that's what has happened with the practice over the way. I've once again realized that I see that it's been interfered with, because I'm always courteous and respectful. I don't need to be, get that label of being like aggressive and stuff, because that's a very cheap argument to make, isn't it? So I've gone out of my way to be most courteous and respectful to the staff and engaging with them. However, they themselves are now being brought into a situation, a safeguarding situation, because they were told a version of events that were in the local authority in Bradford's interest, and they obviously similarly had a duty of care, and I was taking my brother in to see the doctors, and I was trying to engage with them. However, unfortunately, about August last in 2021, the relationship became strained, and I was actively trying to engage with the staff members there and trying to ask them to engage with us. However, there was a lot of come October time 2021, there was nothing was really happening. So eventually I managed to get a meeting together with the doctor there, and we had quite a pleasant meeting, and it was quite resolved, because you can see I'm not an unreasonable person. I'm trying to resolve a situation that's been created by somebody else. And after my conversation with him, much like yourself, you'll see that I'm not highly unreasonable. I'm acting equally in my family's best interest. So after that meeting, he was being slightly open, but he was saying that unfortunately, this is a bit problematic for me, because they lost their practice manager and stuff. So I think the senior staff, the woman that owns it, I think her name is Lorraine. Forgive me I can't remember her name, but she was a very senior person. And I wanted to speak to her, because this doctor, who was effectively acting as a practice manager, could not find a way forward. All right, because obviously we were at loggerheads, because they were asked to do one thing which was against the interest of my family. Anyway, it's irrespective. I went down to this meeting, and it clearly seemed to me like a staged event to antagonize me, and I was very cool, calm and collected, because I recognized that, obviously, unbeknown to myself at the time, that you are fully aware how to get rid of people as patients. If you don't want to have a patient, there are certain steps that you need to follow. You can easily antagonize me, all right, or the patient, and say the fact that, and the trigger point is that if you call the police, then the relationship has irrevocably broken down, and therefore they get moved on. So that's exactly what happened with in December. The senior staff there, the senior doctors, effectively stated that I had been abusive, or justified calling the police. No police was ever called. If you ask me to leave right now, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to start arguing and bawling and stuff. So I left. Subsequently, they've made these false allegations that we've had to call the police, and we've had to, they're no longer, the relationship's broken down. Hence why my brother and sister have ended up with yourself. So this is a new start in a relationship, and once again, the very first thing I did was ask for subject access disclosure on my brother's records. And that was made, this happened in December 2021 when my siblings came registered here, and then obviously I was at a loss, because I didn't want to engage with yourself because of our strained historical relationship. However, my siblings were now in a situation where they are taking regular antipsychotic medication, and they were not receiving that. And it was my decision to make whether we approach yourselves or not. And taking into the context what was happening at the time is that taking into the context that I'm just wait a minute. Yeah. 2021, yeah. So taking into context of what was happening at the time, I didn't want to approach yourselves. However, subsequently in February 2022, we've made a request for my brother's disclosure records. So my brother's been here since. Sorry, what happened was my mum passed away in January 2022. So obviously that was took a higher priority. But in February we made a subject access request for his disclosure of his records, and you were complied. So that's a building of trust. You've got nothing to hide. You understand my brothers have legal rights.
We've never hidden any. You've been in contact with Lindsay, and whatever records you have always wanted.
No,
If we had any piece of paper relating to your family, we have always Lindsay has told me that she's all forwarded to you.
That's not correct.
There isn't anything we hold in our surgery other than what you didn't wanted.
Please, can I? I'm just so we're now at February, March 2022. So obviously it's not that long ago. So you've complied with the request, and I've been happy with that request. Okay, because that was initially, and the reason that obviously you've complied is because in the background there have been court proceedings once again in relation to my brother.
I have not been aware of any court proceedings. Regarding
okay, well, I'll just explain here, because what you have been aware of, and when you did contact me regarding my brother Talib, was because you'd received a referral from the hospital, all right, that my brother had gone into hospital on I believe on the 22nd or 28th of February. So the hospital, after having diagnosed him, made a referral to yourself saying that this gentleman's come in, I've seen this gentleman today, and I'm just slightly concerned. So that's when you had contacted me particularly, and it's so evidenceable by my brother's medical records that my brother ended up in hospital, and I'll just provide you with the background circumstances, because they had.
I think we've had enough of backgrounds. So what do you want us to do now?
With respect, Doctor, I appreciate your patience. I'm nearly finished now. Okay,
yeah.
So the problem is that we made a request for his records. You complied. All right. Then subsequently, I've made requests for both my brother and sister's records,
yeah.
And you've partially complied in August, and then subsequently failed to comply, and that's the situation we're at today.
We have always given you the records, whatever paperwork we have always given you
That's not factually correct.
Well, that's factually correct, because that's
well, you have your friend here.
Lindsay has given you everything, and you are aware of that whatever we have given you. There's some pages which you did not wanted. Well, Lindsay said that there are pages that he did not wanted, and he said that you did not want it. I'm not aware what is said on those pages, but other than that, everything is being given to you. For whatever records we have, whatever came to us through it, we have given you. And the reason is that we have been, your brother and your siblings came to us through the SAS scheme.
Yes.
Because of whatever happened in the previous surgery.
Yes.
We have been trying, it's nothing to do with the SAS scheme, we have been trying to kind of contact you and them just to see if we can help them and get tested, especially if you said that you are aware as well that one of them is suspected diabetes.
I'm not fully confirmed that. No, I don't know. Yeah.
That's why I said it's suspected diabetes. That's why we have been, and you have said that they both suffer from schizophrenia, so they do need medication. They do need medical health checkup, and we are here just for the medical health checkup. We are here just for making sure that their physical health is better and their mental health is better. We are not concerned with any Bradford Council, Oldham Council, anywhere. We had even, and that's Lindsay has spoken to me as well about that. And then because we were trying to, we were asking you to come in, and you've not been responding. You didn't wanted us to have text you as well. So all the mobile numbers have been removed from the record. Yes. So we haven't got any other way of contacting you.
Yes, but I provided you with alternative contacts.
Well, there isn't you don't want to contact you on your mobile, so there's no contact mobile number on your record.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
So there's no mobile numbers on the records. All we wanted.
You've got email. I've provided you with the alternative.
Yeah, so but we have been asking you to bring them in so that we can just do the physical check. We have this, and then we have spoken. I think Lindsay has informed you as well that we will try and get maybe Oldham Social Services to facilitate if they can facilitate in any way if there is a transport problem or if there is any other problems why you can't bring them to surgery, so that we can even contact them as well to try and facilitate.
And what did they say?
Well, they said that they will do whatever they want. They can do. We don't have any contact other than just telling them that we want
But,
like to.
but why would that be the case where you would obviously I have grave concerns regarding safeguarding because
We
obviously
have got say grave concerns regarding safeguarding, and we do
When-
deal with safeguarding
Yes.
as a
Yes.
practice with everyone. So
Yes.
we don't want to kind of ignore safeguarding.
no, but once again, you know, obviously, like I said, we were focusing on what the problem is and how we can build trust.
Yeah.
All right, and one of that is obviously, as you can appreciate, trust comes with honesty, doesn't it, and integrity.
So we
Yes.
have been honest. We have been integrated.
You can't just say that.
Well, we have given you whatever.
No,
so,
you ha-
so do you think we will ever build this trust?
Yes, of course, because
So how do we build this trust? Forget about whatever happened in the past. Give me an example of how we can build the trust.
well, one of the ways that you can build trust is not try to put me on the spot like this. All right, if you're not, I have not put you on the spot.
You've been saying that we need to build trust. We
Yes,
need to
yes,
build
yes.
trust. So that's why I'm asking.
Yes,
We have
okay.
been trying to build the trust. We have brought you to this meeting here.
Yes.
To build this trust.
Yes.
We have been speaking with you on telephone.
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
been
yes.
I've spoken to you about your sister and and your brother on the phone.
Okay.
Lindsay has been forwarding whatever emails we have, whatever paperwork or whatever emails you have been sending her. She's been replying to them.
No, she hasn't.
So we have been. She has been trying. She has.
You know,
been,
Doctor-
She has said that she won't be replying to very long emails.
Okay,
because
okay.
yes, she has got other.
Yes, I appreciate that.
commitments
Yeah,
as
I appreciate
well.
that.
Yeah.
Look, doctor, can I just say
Yeah.
something here? Like, you know the things that we're disputing on when you're saying, look, this is what we've done, and I'm saying, no, you haven't.
Yeah.
Those are not belief systems. Those are factual based that can be evidenced. Okay.
they can be
yes.
evidenced. They
Okay.
can
So,
be
so there's no point
Yeah.
saying that when you're saying we've done something and I say you haven't. The problem here remains is that something happened in August. Okay. Something.
Which August are we talking about?
We're talking about last August.
Okay.
Okay, so something happened in August where I believe that it necessitated me lodging a formal complaint regarding one of your reception staff, all right, where things were being cordial and then all of a sudden I was being antagonized, okay, and that resulted in a complaint going in. Subsequently, that complaint has been handled and you said to us that, well, the matter is now closed because that individual has now left. All right, but the problem remains is that something happened in August last year that had obviously strained the relationship. So I've explained to yourself that something was fine when in February when you complied with the request and things were going forward. However, something happened in August which was very malevolent. And when you say that, no, it wasn't, because obviously, subsequently, Lindsay has disclosed to me contact from social services. All right, you can ask her. She's disclosed this phone call from this one individual called Vicina Brown. All right, who's contacted her and effectively sabotaged our relationship. So when you say how do we build trust between you and myself, I don't think there will be an issue there. But when you are refusing to recognize that there is a third party influence.
So if Lindsay has told you that someone has contacted, she's been honest and told you.
Yes.
So we are not hiding anything. We haven't not hidden that we haven't been contacted. I don't know who this lady is, but Lindsay has definitely told you. So this is what we are doing. If we are getting any information or any questions or any queries from you, we have transferred it. So we have been open with you.
You know, words are cheap to say, okay, but the actions are more profound.
So we have been doing the.
You can't just say I'm honest, and you're not, and I'll believe you.
But you are saying that you are not believing me, not believing.
No,
me,
I
not
didn't say that.
believing me.
When did I say that?
Well, you are implying
I said
on that.
I did not.
You're
I-
saying that there's no.
I said you're disingenuous.
So okay,
Yes.
disingenuous
Means that you're not
get
acting
the
with-
dictionary out and get the meaning for disingenuous. But what I'm trying to say here is we have been since your siblings registered with us.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever information you wanted, whatever things you wanted, we have given to them. All we wanted was for them to come and have a checkup just for the
Okay, all
general
right.
health.
All right. Let's just
So-
quit short. Yeah. Okay. So because obviously, in order for us to move forward, you're saying you provided the information.
Yeah.
I'm saying you haven't.
Okay.
That's evidentiable. So
Okay, that's, from our side, it's evidence that we have provided.
Okay.
From your side, there's evidence that we haven't provided.
provided. So moving forward,
Okay.
I mean, I just to give you a summary, in regards to my sister, you have provided everything. You have provided both electronic records and most importantly the Lloyd George records. In relation to my sister, because obviously I'm quite happy to move my sister on now. All right, because obviously she does not need to be registered with yourself. I'm quite happy to move her on because I have all the records. I've been dealing with your colleague, not Lindsay. What's the other lady's name?
Joanne?
No. The, Andrea?
Andrea.
Andrea. So, in relation to my sister's records, and I've had a very pleasant conversations with her, Andrea. In relation to my sister's records, that we've received everything. However, there are still questions that have not been addressed with regards to the medical records that Andrea is fully aware of. And then, until I have those questions answered, then I'm quite happy to move my sister onto a different practice, which I think will be in the best interest of everybody. Because obviously, I feel the fact that because of our history, things may be slightly problematic, and I feel more comfortable, dealing with a different practice. And I've got no reason for my sister to stay here, because what would the purpose of her staying here for? If she requires any medical attention or medical needs, we're talking about my sister Zaida here, she can get those needs from somebody else. She doesn't need to get them from yourself. You have no further, nothing further to add. You've provided me with her medical records and also her Lloyd George records. However, there are certain questions that are now arisen as a result of this, and Andrea is fully aware of this. And I have asked those questions to explain to me how it is that in my sister's records that there are instances where there are records where she was in Birmingham, and Andrea has confirmed to me that is also on her paper records, and those are factually inaccurate. So that is a concern to me, and that was what me and Andrea were discussing. And she said to me that she's leave it with her, and she's going to get back to me on these things. So I need to have an understanding of exactly what's happened, because obviously I don't want to go to a different practice to have this another digged up again.
That's not good for anyone.
Yes. So obviously, Andrea, me and it's all documented because I obviously did everything in email. Where that situation was is that we've left it with Andrea to get back to me regarding exactly what her inquiries were, because she said she was going to look into this matter of why is that there are records, and she said that there could be a problem with that. So in regards to my sister, I do need some clarity of why that is the case. That there's this irregularities in her medical records, and obviously the GP practice ordinarily we should be able
So
to.
is that medical record related to when she was living in Birmingham? Or
She's never been in Birmingham.
Or when
She's
It's something we've added to the
No, it's not something that you've added, no.
So we haven't added. So where did this Birmingham story
Yes.
came from then?
I looked at her records, all right,
Okay.
and obviously, I think because Andrea's not here today, she's fully appraised of what's going on there, and she's in agreement with myself that doesn't sound right, because obviously one of the important things about the Data Protection Act, and for me to get this, is to ensure that you have the right information,
Yes.
all right, and it's just concerning that if there's information in there, you're not able to make the best judgment call if there's wrong information. So in relation to my sister, it's a much more simpler issue with my sister.
Okay.
I have a lasting power of attorney for both on health and welfare, and obviously you have that. So let's try to resolve this simple issue first, all right? And obviously I have these letters that you sent. So you've sent a letter in December to my sister regarding an appointment, okay?
Just right. That will be good.
And then subsequently we had that appointment, all right? And then obviously you've written to my sister again, all right? This is quite recently regarding you're no longer, we can register somewhere else. So
That's just the SAS scheme, because I don't. SAS scheme is for people who have been aggressive. Or
but we haven't.
Your brother and sisters have never been aggressive to us, so there's no point in keeping them on the scheme.
But the point is, the question in regards to my sister is because I've presented you with my legal authority to act on their behalf, which much to the dismay of other people, it still exists. It's not being contested.
Yeah.
So my question to yourself is that why are you writing to my sister and not writing to me?
Because we write to the patients, and even if you have got we've got lots of patients who have got mental power of attorney, health power of attorney, financial power of attorneys. We always write to the patient's name, and then because the patient has got, they can give it to anyone. It's whoever they've got the power of attorney or whoever's not got the power of attorney. So the patients can give it to, but our letters are officially always gone to the patient's name.
Okay.
And it's the same from any hospital letters or anything. They always come in the patient's name. They don't go to the person who has got it. So the patients who have got dementia, I'm not saying that your sister's got it, but patients who have got dementias or whoever, the letter still goes in their name.
Yes.
Then it goes to whoever has got the health authority. So it goes to that person. So that's why practice is
it's a policy that you create. Yes.
It
Okay.
goes in the patient's name,
Okay.
but the patient can give it to
Yes.
you. You can do whatever you want to do with that patient. And the reason we removed them from the SA scheme was that we didn't think that, because they have not been a problem to us. They haven't been abusive to our staff. They've not been.
But they've not come in.
Well, that's why. So we haven't seen them. We haven't had any issues. So why do we lock someone on a scheme that's saying that oh no, you are a bad person, you can't
Yes.
go anywhere, whereas we haven't had any issues with them.
And obviously, like, that is the problem here, yes,
Yeah.
because why have they ended up on the scheme?
Well, that's for
See,
the previous,
so you
that's
cut
for
off the,
previous,
yes,
that's for,
so you
that's
cut
got
off something,
nothing-
yes,
that's
I have
got
to take
nothing to do with us as a
I understand, doctor. You are only limited in what your scope is. I
Yes.
understand that, but you see, I have to take a holistic approach,
Yes.
and I have to ask those questions that not to find myself in that situation again.
You can challenge CCG for that.
We don't put
We-
I
patients
understand.
on the
We
scheme.
don't
We
put
have no
patients-
control who comes to us. We are told
I
that
understand.
patients on the scheme, they're now registered with you. We
Yeah.
can't even say, no, we don't want them. They
Yeah.
come to us and that's it. The be
No
all
doubt you would
and
have,
end all.
no doubt you, if you knew, you would have refused. But here we are today,
Yeah.
that we are here in this situation, and
Yeah.
obviously it concerns me that obviously in regards to how we've ended up on this scheme, which is obviously contentious, is that it was all to do with my brother. We were debating with my brother. My sister effectively lives in Oldham. She's a permanent resident in Oldham. She was registered with them, and I just thought, because my brother's coming here to live here for a short period of time from 2021 onwards, that I'll register with them. Now, it's highly discourteous and disingenuous that my sister's not even engaged with them, and they've kicked her off.
Well,
That's there. I know.
it's
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
do
yeah.
with
I
that,
understand. I
is it?
understand.
It's-
But we're here today because of the background circumstances, which have to be taken into consideration.
I know, but
I
we're
understand.
We're trying to sort out how
Yeah.
we can move forward
Yes,
from
okay,
this, and
all
we
right.
just keep going back to
No,
what's
no, no.
happened. We need to
No,
work
I
out
understand.
how we can go forward.
Well, in order to go for, they say that in order to know the future, you got to know the past.
I know, but we've been over
Yeah,
the past in
yeah.
the past.
Okay, all right, no problem.
We've
I mean,
been
really,
here 45 minutes and there's
okay,
patients still
I understand,
waiting.
but collectively we've not dealt with this issue before. How we, like I said, I'm quite keen to move on as well. So in relation to my sister, Andy was supposed to get back to me with regards
Well,
to.
I wasn't aware of what
Okay.
the issues are with Andrea.
Were
We
you
will probably
aware of
take.
any?
Well-
We will probably take
Yes,
with Andrea
okay,
and sort that
okay, all
out.
right.
Yeah.
All right,
Andrea
so the first thing is the finding because she had said she was going to inquire and never got back to me. And the second thing is, which is far more concerning, is that there was a substantial delay from getting the Lloyd George records in regards to both of. I'm not even sure about my brother, but let's just focus in on my sister. You know that I had to then. You advised me to check up with, I think, different people or higher authorities and stuff.
PCSE,
Yeah,
that's where the records come from. We
So
don't control that.
you advised me to speak to them. I spoke to them at length as well, like what's happening with my sister's records, and they said there usually is a delay, but it's never more than 6 months. And I said in my particular case it's been over a year, and so they advised me, well, that just, and this lady advised me that seems very, very odd. And however, it doesn't seem odd to me because that's exactly what happened in my mum's case. All right, where there was a substantial delay. So in relation to my sister's case, I do need to know why is that there was a delay, because all of a sudden then
We won't be able to tell you that.
We can
We
only
can't
tell
tell
you
you
the
that.
dates when the records reach the practice.
you told me.
Yeah, so we can only tell the dates when the records reach the surgery.
Yes.
We can't tell the dates where the records was before
Yeah.
that
The
or why
records
the
go
date-
from the practice where they were to PCSE to the new practice. So it's PCSE that know what's happened to them in there. We
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
anything until we get those records.
Okay, I understand now. But can you see there's a recurring pattern here that, obviously that's what happened in my mum's case and that's what happened in my sister's case. So I'm quite happy if you can provide us with this information regarding what Andrea was looking into, and also in relation to, I do need an answer, because you can't say, well, I've gone to other people. They said like,
We can't give you the answer. If you
can't
don't know
tell you.
anything, we can't give you the answer.
Okay,
we
all
can
right,
give you
okay.
the answer about Andrea's question.
yes.
We can
So-
tell you we can get Andrea to explain what she's done.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and
Okay,
we
all
can,
right.
we can
Okay.
get the answer about Andrea, but I'm sorry, we won't be able to tell what's
Yes,
happened
okay,
with,
okay.
with something
Okay.
which is.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because
we
obviously,
don't know where the records were, so we
yeah,
can't
but the records don't disappear.
Yeah,
They
so-
either are the
but
old
it-
practice,
so
they're with PCS, or they're here.
Yes.
If they have disappeared somewhere, then obviously that is a concern, and I was.
We can tell you the dates we got them.
Yeah, I know. You've told Andrea's told me the dates, and like I said, the issue with Andrea has not been a problem with regards to my sister. It's far more easier, and
So we will sort your sister out.
Okay,
We'll
and
sort your brother.
so with regards to this, obviously, once I have this information, I'm quite happy to, move on with my sister to other practices. I've looked around for other practices. I'm happy to get registered off. And with regards to yourself, you don't have an issue. She's going to be moved on with regards to this. So that's the simple part. The,
we want the best for your sister, and if you think the best for your sister is with any different surgery or any other surgery, that's fine with us.
yeah. But with regards to my brother, it's a little bit more complex because I don't have, contrary to what you're saying that we've given you everything. That's a very broad term.
I think the only way I can reassure you is take you around to the surgery and show you we are not hiding anything anywhere.
No, I don't want to do that. No.
That's the only way I can reassure you that
No,
we
no.
are not hiding anything.
But that's a silly statement, isn't
No,
it?
but-
That's a
but-
very
but
silly statement to make.
I'm trying to explain to you that whatever records or whatever paperwork we have given it to you, and you are not agreeing to that. So that's
No, I am. Look, with regards to my sister, like I said, everything is resolved.
Well, I think your sister,
Let's put that one.
park your
But with
sister.
regards to my brother,
Yeah.
evidently this is not. There's a far more problematic issue here,
Yeah.
because obviously you when you say we provided you with everything, obviously when I'm saying you haven't, then there's not a problem, is it? You can in order to move, in order for the same to happen in regards to my brother, and I can see you're getting tired, and I obviously don't want to take up more of time than necessary. I will need.
It's just that I'm on call as well. So
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in relation to resolve this issue, I mean, I'm not even advised if you at this stage you received his Lloyd George records. Can you confirm that?
Not off the top of my head, I can't.
Because that's where we were at discussions with the Lindsay before she stopped talking to me. Is that she said that we've received your sister's records because you received the Lloyd George back in April. All right.
Can
As
you
soon as
check
you would
on
have-
them Lloyd George records?
Yeah.
If you can let us know what you think you haven't got, then
Well,
we can tell you whether we've got it, and if we've
Well-
got it, you can have it. But other than saying we've not give you
Well,
everything,
no,
when
no.
we've give you everything that we've got. If you can be specific, we can
with,
look
with,
to see if
res-
we've
with,
got
res-
it.
with respect, like I said, you attempted to comply in February, March, 2022. You did comply because there were we're not.
If
But
we
then
haven't got the Lloyd George,
Yes.
if we haven't received we will check if you've got the Lloyd George. If you've got the Lloyd George, we will forward to you.
Yes.
But if we haven't received the Lloyd George, we can't forward to you.
I understand, but
Yeah.
then I can't move my brother forward as well. All right.
But that's not an issue. Lloyd George is not an issue.
It is for me.
I think it's your brother's health should be an issue for you.
Of course, my brother's health is my
So-
issue.
So that's why. So we can wait for your Lloyd George to appear
But no,
wherever we are.
but they're not just, with respect, they're not just disappear, and they don't just reappear. All right.
If they have disappeared, they can reappear. But
That seems highly unusual.
well,
Okay.
anything that
Have you been in contact with PCSE about your brother's records?
I've been.
and asked them?
I have asked them with regards to the policies they have, and they said that normally within 6 months. It's very unusual.
So you can contact them and say,
Okay.
well, the surgery has not
Okay.
received your Lloyd George.
Okay, and can you understand that it's imperative that I have a copy of his medical records.
Whatever records we have given them to you. Okay. Now, if we don't have Lloyd George, we can't give it to you.
That's fair
We
enough.
don't
I'm
have
not.
Lloyd George.
I'm not asking you to conjure things up.
Yeah. So what I think it's important that your brother's health, especially if your brother is suffering from schizophrenia, especially if he's suspected of diabetes. I'm sure you understand all the complications of diabetes. So I'm sure you will want to have a diagnosis, treatment going forward to help him. So I'm just asking
Yes.
you if you will bring your brother in so that we can confirm or refuse that he has got diabetes. We can
Okay.
make sure that his general health is good.
Okay.
You can come yourself with them. We can sit we can arrange for an interpreter if you want an independent interpreter. We've got telephone interpreters. We can arrange a telephone interpreters if you want an independent.
Doctor, do you
And
think
then
if you
we
say
can
this
take-
10 more times that I'm going to change?
Well, do you think our trust will go if you don't change?
I need to trust you?
Yes, you need to trust us.
Okay, and if I don't trust you, or obviously look at the conduct and behaviour. You keep on saying the same thing. Bring him in. We're desperate for you to bring him in.
Yes, we are desperate from
yes.
your brother's side of him because I'm worried about his health. As are you worried about his health?
I'm worried about his health, but I'm
Yes,
more
so-
worried about your conduct and behaviour.
So you are worried about our conduct and
How you're handling the
situation.
situation. How you're handling the situation.
We are just politely asking what
But you've made thinly veiled threats against me
I'm
right
not
here.
making any
We've got people here as well. You
We have
understand?
got
The
You've
no
made
threats
thinly,
been
you've
said
made
to
thinly
us.
veiled threats.
What kind of
I explained to you exactly what threats you've made, and this is obviously I take obviously I say this because you've already informed me that one of our problems is not you're going to physically threaten us. Okay, I'm not worried about that, but you're willing to escalate matters to the social services regarding safeguarding.
We will have to,
Yeah.
because
So the- so-
if I haven't seen a patient and the patient is registered with us, and if I'm asking the patient to come to me,
And I'm willing to comply.
My duty is to say that patient needs to come and see us. That I'm worried about that patient's health.
Oh,
and-
you're worried.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
okay.
Yeah,
So if
because
you're worried, then why has this taken? One of the questions I was going to say is that if you're so worried about my brother, you wrote in December. You wrote in December to my sister saying, "Look, I would like to arrange an appointment." So this is an appointment that you 19th of December.
We have been
With
sending you texts.
Can you not talk over me, please?
No, I think
Okay,
that
you
we're
talk.
just talking on and
No, we're not.
over and over again about the same thing.
No, we're not.
We are talking over and over again.
You're kind of, and I'm once again saying this. You're acting very disingenuous. Okay.
I think you're acting disingenuous.
I am?
Yes.
Do you know what the word means?
Well,
Disingenuous.
that's why I said get the dictionary.
So
out.
you don't know what the word
I-
means.
I-
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
What?
properly, if you're,
Being a bit rude now.
Well, I'm sorry,
Bit
but
rude.
yeah.
what have I said that's rude? I'm getting slightly agitated as well about the way I'm being spoken to, because you know why? Every time I'm speaking, you're speaking over me.
Because you're going on and on and on and on. I've got limited time. We arranged a meeting
So there you
for
go.
half an hour. We have got
If-
limited time. I'm on call.
If,
I've got
so I think
doctors.
the problem here is that the doctor's under pressure. I'm under pressure because you're putting me under pressure. So I think the best way to proceed forward is to rearrange this meeting because obviously.
I know we're not going to
Why?
rearrange the meeting.
Why?
Because
We've spent an hour going round in circles.
No, we haven't.
We have.
All right.
We
Can you
have.
justify that? You said we're going around in circles. We've just resolved my sister's issue, have we not?
Well, what do you need?
Yeah, we've resolved my sister.
Well,
We're not going
what
around
do you
circles.
need to resolve your brothers? Can we do that?
Yeah, well, obviously, all right. I'm trying to. If you're saying you've disclosed the records, do you have a problem with disclosing them again?
You want a copy of all his records?
Yeah, so we make
You
a.
can have a copy of all his records.
Okay, and then I'll see what was there, what was missing, or what was not missing. So I think that would be a good way forward. And also, if you can tell me about his Lloyd George records, because in order for me to move forward, I do need a copy of all his records,
Well,
medical records.
We can only tell you if the Lloyd George is at our surgery. If you have received it, we will give you the copy.
Okay.
If it's not at a surgery, then you will have to contact
Okay,
CSC
okay,
and ask
okay,
them where the
okay.
records are.
But if I don't get a copy of the Lloyd George records, I am restricted in moving my brother on like I'm trying to move my sister on.
Well, will you bring him in to get
Well,
a health check if you are keeping him here? We're not saying to give him medication or anything, but can we just at least start with a blood test and a health check?
well, with regards to his
and then
blood,
try and build a bit of trust from
yeah.
that.
Well, I think you know with the.
Maybe if your
Well,
brother
but
sees
look,
us.
see, I can only answer one question. Yeah, you asked me a question, all right, and then obviously I don't want to deal with 10 different people. You asked me a question to build trust, okay? With regards to his blood tests, so you want to take his bloods? Is that something that he does not want to do? He's never wanted to do that. With regards to coming for a general health check, I am concerned about my brother as well because he needs to be seen by a doctor. I'm quite eager for him to come down as well. But I understand that he equally has a right to refuse. So with regards to the blood test, I don't think I can. That's something that's going to happen when he comes in. But obviously, you can have a general health check. But like I said, that's all predicated on your openness and transparency and cooperation, because it is you yourselves that have not been open and transparent and cooperating with me. Because the reason I mentioned this is that on the 19th of December you asked to speak to a concern regarding my sister, and we've had an appointment and we've spoken, but you've not shown equal concern regarding my brother. So can I ask you that question? Is that both of these individuals came here at the same time? Both of them have not been in. You wrote to my sister, and we've had a polite conversation, very brief conversation, if you recall, over the telephone. So my question to yourself is that why have you equally not written out to my brother, saying that we would like a review over the telephone?
Yes, because things are changing now. We were doing reviews on the birthday months, so that might have been the reason why your brother's review might have been different to your sister's review. And you have been having text from us about both your brother and your sisters. Lindsay has been sending you reminders about bringing them for health checks. So it's not that we have just been looking after your sister and not looking after your brother. We have been sending text and reminders about the reviews to both the family members. So it's not just one family member we are concerned. So we have been sending for both the family members. And I think we need to kind of come to an end of this meeting
Yes, yes, yes.
With some kind of a decision. So
Yes.
we've decided that we will forward whatever.
We'll get you all his records we've got. We'll
Yeah.
get an answer from Andrea as to what.
But that's regarding my sister,
She's been
and the way we're not going around in circles. We're going to move the matter forward. I'm quite keen to get my sister registered with a different practice. So hopefully within a short period of time, I'll be looking to get my sister registered.
So regarding your brother, if we give you his records and you can tell us what you think is missing.
Yeah. Well.
But what we give you will be everything we've
Well,
got.
do you understand that is a very easy task, isn't it? You press one button,
No,
print his
don't
records.
just press one button.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as that.
Okay.
But anyway, that's regardless.
Is it electronic records? All right, are far more easier to get.
know how to do electronic
Okay, all right. And then with regards to his Lloyd George records, obviously there's a bit of a problem there. You don't even know if you've got them. If you do have them, they might take some time photocopying and stuff. But I really do. And obviously, everything else is recorded. You understand? With regards to my emails, it is yourselves that have stopped engaging with myself.
Because we're going round in circles. There's nothing else we can say to you. That's why the answers are.
All right. Do you accept that this meeting has been productive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're moving your sister on.
yeah. So it's been productive.
I think
And who
it's
arranged this
productive
meeting?
in the sense that we have
Who? No, sorry. Can you not speak over? Who arranged this meeting?
You were after.
Yes, I asked for it. Yes. So I'm trying to resolve the situation. I'm trying to move the matter forward. So right. So this meeting could have been arranged a lot sooner by yourselves. You could have instigated this. I instigated this.
We haven't got time to have meetings with 10,000 patients.
No doubt, no doubt. But my siblings are not like every other patient, are they? They've been brought here by force.
Treated like every other patient.
They are
Yeah.
treated like every
But
other
they're not being treated like every other patient
They
because
are.
allegations have been made regarding
We
them.
haven't
They've
made
been put on a
any-
special list, haven't they?
Not by us.
I know, but they're not like every.
We've taken them off that
I know-
list
I know you
because
have.
We've not had any problems.
I know you have, but the bottom line is that to say that my siblings are just like every other patient, that's disingenuous.
No, it's not disingenuous.
I'll
What
tell you
I'm
why.
saying is every single
Pardon?
patient has
I
been
think that's very
treated the
rude
same.
from us as well to think that we would specially pick out one patient. 'Cause
No.
I come into this job
Okay,
to
go on.
treat every single patient as a family member. treat every
Okay.
single patient.
Okay.
I think we've gone around in circles.
We-
We've come to some kind of a couple of things to.
What have we gone around in circles on?
We've gone around in circles. We've come to a conclusion about your sister, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
We've got a plan for your brother as well.
Yeah.
He's going to get all
Yep.
the copies of
Yep.
records.
Yep.
We'll have a look at the Lloyd George if they're available.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they're not available, then it's back to PCSE because they're
Yes.
the people. who
But then
control that.
obviously there's still some outstanding issues regarding my brother's situation. But hopefully, like I said, I'm the one that's trying to resolve the situation.
We're
Yes.
all trying to resolve the situation.
Well,
That's
no,
what
you,
we're doing
no,
here
you,
today.
no, you arranged to have a meeting with me today. Just for your background, is because me and the doctor were speaking on the telephone, and she said I don't have enough time, and I said I would like to arrange a face-to-face meeting. So that's why we're here today. I'm trying to resolve the situation. So what? So what?
So we have had the meeting.
So
We're trying to
yeah,
conclude.
yes, but
I think we need
but
to end this meeting.
Yeah.
I was looking to end it, but then you throw in a curveball by saying that we treat all our patients the same, and I don't think that's right. And as a doctor, and I can give you some advice, you should not treat each patient the same because each patient is not the same. Every patient is unique and different.
There's a
And
difference
please,
between
please.
equality and equity. Every patient is equitable. They each
Yes,
get
I agree with
equal
you.
To what they need
Yes.
and what their needs are.
Okay,
That's what we've been doing.
okay, and so you mentioned equity and equality, yes, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. How has my siblings been treated here is very, very unequitable. All right.
Okay, well, that's in your opinion.
Yeah, and I understand that you're trying to because you have a problem.
We haven't seen the
What's up?
siblings.
What exactly are you contributing to the conversation? Look, I'd like to bring it because obviously I'm getting agitated now as
Yeah,
well.
you're getting rude as well.
I'm not getting rude.
You are.
That was a rude thing that she just said.
Look, I think finger pointing won't help.
What you just interjected. You just
Do you
interjected.
think finger pointing is not rude?
Do you think it's not? Do you think it's rude to? I'm having a discussion here, and you just say, "Well, you haven't brought your siblings in again." We know that. We've established that you're not contributing everything. You look, let's say, yeah. We are gonna end it, but it doesn't. Your comment didn't help. You're trying to trigger me, and I'm trying to be patient too.
Yeah, we're all
And you're trying to say I'm being rude.
Yeah.
I think we need to end this meeting.
Yes,
now,
yes, we will,
because
yes.
Before things get out of hand.
Yeah, I think they are at
We've got
that
a
stage.
list of things
Yes.
that we can talk
Okay.
through. And then we've got conclusion for your sister. We'll find out from Andrew what's going on. We'll find out about the Lloyd George records from your brother.
Okay, and how will that be communicated to me?
How do we normally
Email.
communicate things?
All right, if you email me, and obviously I'll respond to my emails, and we can move forward. I'm sorry if I came slightly irate, but I'm kind of fed up as well.
At the end of the
As you can appreciate, I'm getting very fed up with this situation because of the realities, and I keep on using the word disingenuous. It's not about disbelief, but the problem here, you're not looking at what the real problem is. The real problem is that you're acting subserviently to a different organization, which is a local authority, and you shouldn't be doing that. All right, you should be acting in my brother's best interest, not under the interest. And you've not mentioned the fact that what has your interaction been with the? Why I'm asking for these records? Why don't you be open and transparent with me? What has your interaction been with Bradford Council?
We've not had any, and this
We
is
don't
going
want to deal
completely
with
off on a
that.
tangent
Okay.
when we've said we're finished.
Yeah,
with this
yeah.
meeting.
Just
We've had no contact with Bradford Council at all.
And we
Well-
don't deal with Bradford Council, so why would we ask you? Anyway, Hassan,
yes,
I'm
but
sure you-
I've got.
Thank you.
You've disclosed phone calls with Vicina Brown. So anyway, like I said,
Thank you.
let's just end it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So if you just press the button for me, the silver one.
It's okay, doctor. I can see myself out.
No, I'm just showing you. Are you happy you're on the way?
Yeah, I think. Thank you, doctor. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. You're very rude. What's that I did for you? So what? Book the record.